Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we will discuss the pre-release material of the upcoming October-November 2020 exam of Computer Science 04782210 paper 2, and I will talk about the task 1, and I will brief the description of the task 1, that is the understanding, and then we will see the pseudocode, and then we will also see the program, which is in visualbasic.net. So if you take a look on the pre-release material, which is given in the October-November 2020, it actually is saying to make an online computer shop which sells the customized personal computers. Every computer sold includes a basic set of component costing $200, and additional items can be added from the table. So you can see in this table there are different categories like the case, RAM, main hard disk drive, solid state drive, second hard disk drive, optical drive, and operating system. And these categories they have different item code, and then there is the description for each item code, and then the relevant price is also written over here. So what the pre-release says about these item as well as the basic. So there is a basic set of component every computer must include, and that is one case, one RAM, and one main hard disk drive from the table. So the user has to select one case from these two, and then one RAM from these three, and one hard disk drive from these three. So these three items are going to make the basic component of the computer. So the computer is supplied with or without operating system. Now what the pre-release is actually saying that write and test a program or programs for the online computer shop. Your program or program must include appropriate prompts for the entry of the data must be validated on entry. So these instructions are actually they are common with every pre-release material, and these things the students they learn in their paper 2 about why the data entry is validated, why the prompts are required. Definitely when the user or the programmer, when he will run the program, there need to be a clear message written for the entry of the data, so that the user should know what he or she is entering. And after having a clear and appropriate prompts, the data must also be validated, so that when if an incorrect data is input, it must be rejected, and so and only allowing the relevant or the correct data to be entered. And then next is that the error messages and other output need to be set out clearly and understandably. So when there is an error, when for example if the user try to enter incorrect data, then a clear message should be given to the user so that he should understand what the error is, and then he or the user should enter the correct data. So clear messages for any expected error should be there. So these error messages should be properly planned. Then all the storages like array, variable, constants, and other identifier, they must have a meaningful name, they must be declared, and they must be assigned the proper data type, and then the name which will be which are given to these storages, they must be appropriate and meaningful. So these are the common instructions, these are the common rules which the students and you actually take care of these rules while writing the solution for the task 1, task 2, and task 3. So now moving into the task, you can see that for accomplishing this scenario, the students, they have to actually work on 3 tasks, and the task 1 says that setting up the system and ordering the main item. So this is the first task, and the task 2 is ordering additional item, and task 3 is offering discount. So these are three things which are actually required here: setting up the system and ordering the main items. So main items are case, RAM, and hard disk. So the task 1 it is further divided into more points, like in the task 1, the first task is to declare the arrays, and which will store the item code, description and price. So you can see these three columns: item code, description and price. So these things are going to be stored in arrays. And the other thing is that allow a customer to choose one case, one RAM and main hard disk drive. So when the user is going to enter select these item code, description and price, so it is required that uh, the user must select one case from these two, and one RAM from these three, and one hard disk drive from these three options like C1, C2, C3. And why they are different? Because they have different capacity, like RAM 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB, hard disk drive 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte and 4 terabyte, and case compact and tower. So definitely when the customer he will select different things from here and from the category. So for each category item there is a different price written over here, and resultantly the price for these three things, selection of these three things will be different for as per the requirement, as per the selection of the customer. And then the other point is that so after allowing the customer to choose one case, one RAM and one hard disk drive, now then in the third point, calculate the price of the computer using the cost of chosen item and the basic set of the components. So then the cost is required to be calculated, or the price is required to be calculated. This is the third point. And the fourth point is store and output the chosen item and the price of the computer. So finally, the items which are selected in each category of these basic set of component means which case, which RAM and which hard disk drive the customer has opted or selected, and then what is the rate, what is the price, and what is the total price of that of these components. So these things are required to be output, store and output in the point number 4. So this is task number 1, and today we will actually talk about the task number 1. And I have also I have also made a top-down design of the same concept, and that is, you can see online computer shop and task 1, task 2 and task 3. So what is the task 1? Task 1 is actually setting up the system and ordering the main item. So in the task 1, what is actually happening? Setting up the main system and ordering the main item. It includes, as I have already shown you the points. I'm also showing it in the structure diagram in this top-down design. Initializing and populating storages. This is one task. One subtask. Selecting basic set of component. This is second task. Second subtask, and calculating price. Third subtask, and output selected items and total price. So this is what is actually needed in this task 1, and this we will do, and now I will show you the pseudocode in which we will accomplish these 4 subtasks, and by accomplishing these 4 subtasks we will complete the task 1. Okay, now you can see the pseudocode for task 1. It is visible. So the task 1 is now as I told you that it include 4 different pieces or 4 different subtasks. So the very first thing we need to do is that we will declare some variables which will be required, like we require case item code, RAM item code, hard disk item code as string, and we will declare case price, RAM price and hard disk price, and then price as real. So real is actually to store the currency or the amount. Then is the requirement, you know that the first subtask is actually to store data into the array, and the 3 details that we will record, one is item code, and the other one is description, and the third one is price of item. So we will declare 3 arrays. And these arrays are item code as string, description as string, price of item as real. So these are the 3 arrays which we will use and then item code, and the data we will assign directly. So these datas are actually, they are 17 in number as they are provided in the pre-release material scenario. So item code are A1, A2, B1, B2, B3. So B1 to B3 is actually, this is RAM, C1, C2, C3 is hard disk drive. So this is A1, B, A, B and C, they belong to the basic set of components, which is case, which is RAM, and which is hard disk drive. And then these are the extended items, and which are shown here by D1, D2, E1, E2, E3, F1, F2 and G1, G3. So this is the item code, and these are the elements of item code, and then we have the description. Now you can see that how we are doing it, that item code, the way the data is stored and the sequence in which the data are stored in the item code array. It is A1 is stored at index 1, A2 is stored at index 2, and it is at stored 3, 4, 5, 6. So these, the way they are stored, they are actually stored at different numbers, and they are in order, and in the same order we are storing the description. So compact is at 1, tower is at 2, 8 GB is at 3, and 16 GB at 4, 32 GB at 5, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 240, and so on. So we have the description of all the item and with their codes. So if we want to see that B2, so B2 is on 4th index, so it means we will look for its description also in the 4th index in the description array, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So B2 is actually 16 GB. So B2 has the description of 16 GB, and if you'll go in the price 1, 2, 3, 4, so the 16 GB is of $144.99. So this is how we relate these values in the arrays with respect to each other. So this is how we populated these arrays, and these are the values, and then this is actually the accomplishment of the subtask, and which is storing data and storing values. Okay, now moving to the subtask 2, which is actually allowing the customer to select one item from each category. You know, in the category case, there are 2 items. In the category RAM, there are 3 items. In the category hard disk, there are 3 items. So definitely the basic set of component is that the customer has to select one case, one RAM and one hard disk drive. So it means now the customer has to select one from A1 and A2, and one from B1, B2 and B3, and one from C1, C2 and C3. So this is we are going to do with the help of a loop, and this is actually a conditioned loop. And in this conditioned loop we are using repeat until. And why we are using repeat until? Because you know that repeat until is actually a false based loop. It is a false based loop, and the false based loop means it will run at least once even if the condition is true. You know that the repeat until loop, it stops when the condition is true, while the while and while loop, it stops when the condition is false. So in order to run the loop, the condition must be false. So that is why the repeat until is a false based loop. Now what we are doing in this repeat until, we are actually asking for the item code from the customer to enter. When he will enter the item code, it will be placed into the variable case item code, and then we will check it. We will apply condition, we will apply decisions branching on it, and we will check that the case item which the user has entered, the customer has entered, is it A1? If it is A1, and you can see that when he will enter the correct, let's say he will enter A1, if it is A1, then the case price is 75 as per the list given by the pre-release material. And then if it is A2, then the case price is 150.0. So this is what will happen if the customer will select A1 or A2. And if the customer will not select A1 or A2, and if the customer will write, let's say, any other item code, then the error message will go, and the error message will tell the customer that he has entered an invalid case, and then he has to actually select from A1 or A2. So this is the message, and if it is error, then it means it will, when it will come to this condition, until case item code is A1 or A2. So if the customer has entered incorrect, which is, let's say it is B1 here, then it means the condition is true. It is the condition is false. When the condition is false, it will repeat. But if the customer has entered the correct code, that is A1 or A2, then what will happen? The condition will become true. So when the condition is true, the loop will end. The loop will not repeat again. So this is the way the repeat until works. And the reason of using repeat until over here is that the repeat until will execute once, even if the condition is true. Okay. So in the same way, we will do the same with the RAM. And now the selection of the RAM from given capacity, we are first we are asking for customer to enter the code of RAM. We are we are placing the value in RAM item code, and we are now comparing it, and we are checking that the entered code is B1. If it is B1, then the price is 79. If it is B2, then the price is 149.99, and if it is B3, then the RAM price is 299.0. And if the entered RAM item code is not B1, B2, B3, then an error message will go, and the customer will be informed that he must enter the correct code, which is B1, B2 or B3. And same the working of until. It means if the entered code is B1, B2, B3, the condition will become true and it will stop the loop, and then the price will come out of it. And the same is happening with the disk drive, and this is how the customer is actually entering the code for the disk drive, and for each code there is a different price assigned to that code. And by the after doing these three things, what we are doing in these three repeat until, we are actually validating. We are restricting the user to input the correct code, and this is what the journal rules, or what the journal instructions are actually given by the pre-release material. And so because of this, the customer will definitely enter the correct data, and the incorrect data will be rejected. So that this thing is actually accomplished with the help of these three loops. And after this now we will calculate the price, and from each repeat until, based on the code, we will get the price of hard disk drive, we will get the price of RAM, we will get the price of case, and then by adding these three we will get the price, and then we will print the price of the computer. So this is the price of the computer. And after this is actually the accomplishment of the third, and then in the fourth subtask, which is now printing the item which the user has selected and then the total price. For that we will first print a heading, that is chosen item of users are, and then I have applied line. Then the loop is from 0 to 16, or it can be from 1 to 17. They both are same. And now what I'm doing here, what we will do in this line is that if item code count is equal to case item code. Now case item code, you can see this is the code which the user has selected while entering the case item code for case. So if, for example, the user has selected A2, so here you will have A2. In this variable we will have A2. And item code, this is the array of item code, and this is the array. So this is the array of item code. And in the item code array, now the value which is held in case item code will be compared with each element of the item code. And when it will reach to A2, like when it will search here A1, A2, so when it will come here, so it means it will stop at iteration 2 or 1, 0, 1. So it will count will have 1. So when it will have 1 means, or 2, it is the second, what I mean to say is the second index. It will stop at the second index of the item code, and then it will print the case, and from description the other array. This is the array, and it will go on the second, because the index is second, so second is tower, so it will print tower. So for the code A2, it will print the description which is and at the index tower. So in the third, if item code is now equal to RAM item code, now again you are going to tell the RAM item code, you will be comparing the item code with RAM item code. RAM item code is now in the same, you can see this is, so this is the RAM item code. So from these, if it will equal to them, let's say it is B1, B2, B3, then definitely it will print the RAM, the description of the RAM. And for the item code, hard disk item code, then it will print the description of hard disk drive. So this loop is actually what it is doing. This loop is printing only the selected one. Let's say I have when I will run the program, let's say I select this case, this RAM and this hard disk. So A2, B2 and C2. So for A2, tower is the description and 150.0 is the price. Okay, and for B2, which is at 1 2 3 4 index, 1 2 3 4, so is 16 GB is the description, and what is the price? 1 2 3 4, 149.99 is the price. So these things will be printed. So it means by running this loop, the last loop, we will get the detail of which case is selected, which RAM is selected, and which hard disk drive is selected. So this is the description of the pseudocode. Now we will move toward the VB program. Okay, now you can see the Visual Basic program. I have written the same pseudocode in the programming as well. You can see here, first of all, I have declared all the variables like the case item code, RAM item code, hard disk item code, case price, RAM price, hard disk price as double. This is single and this is string and this is double. Why we are taking double? Because we want to have more accurate and precise number. Okay, now then the array declaration and population. As you have seen in the pseudocode, the array is declared in the same way and the values are directly assigned. Why we are assigning directly? Because we are not doing it one by one, we are doing it in front of it. So we are assigning it just like the set of elements of a set. So we are assigning to item code, and the number of the item code will also define the size of this item code. So description and then the price of item. So here we are doing the first loop for the case, and this is the another repeat until for RAM, and this is the repeat until for hard disk drive. So we are the same explanation which I have told you in the start. Then I am calculating the price here, and then we are printing the price, and then we are showing what the customer has actually selected in these lines, printing the selected item and their total price, and the same loop. And it will actually tell us that the customer the price which is made for the basic component of computer, and these component are actually which case the customer has selected, which RAM the customer has selected, and which hard disk drive. Now I will run it so that you can get the better understanding of this task 1. So now when I run this, you can see enter item code for case, and it is saying A1 or A2. So I will select, let's say if I write A3, it will say invalid case, select correct A1 or A2. This is the error message, clear error message. Now I will select the right one, A1. Enter item code for RAM, and if I again select wrong, B4, invalid RAM code, select correct B1 or B2 or B3. So I will select now B2. Enter item code for main hard disk drive, C3. Now you can see the total price of the total case is 354.98, and the chosen item of the users are case is compact, RAM is 16 GB, and hard drive is 4 terabyte hard disk. So this is actually the accomplishment of the task 1, and this is how you can see that the entry of the data is also validated, and we have also provided choice for customer to select any item code, any item from from the first 3 categories, and then we have calculated the price, and then we have also shown that which items are selected in these 3 categories, and what is the total price of it. That's all for the task 1. Thank you very much.